day, ladies and gentlemen, little sisters and brothers. Be ye not deceived. In this case, to mean believing and perceiving the controlled opposition's doctrines. Case in point, as you know, when I speak about the Israelis' history, persecution is nigh. But notice how many people YouTube will even promote who rail against what we have been told was Zionism. You know, bloodthirsty, world dominating, etc. The reason is because what we've been force fed to believe was Zionism is all wrong. Let me explain. YouTube throttled my uploading capabilities just before I could expose the fact that Zionists were another new and fresh seed upon the earth with very specific goals. Goals that had absolutely nothing to do with what we see before our eyes today, which can only mean those before our eyes today are newer and fresher than the original Zionists and have successfully taken control. Before I prove this fact, allow me to ask you a question, gentle strangers. Remember our coup de grace video series before the election? You remember when Little Miss Ivy and I proved the evangelicals were hijacked by Luciferians going under the name Christian Zionist Dominionists and are simply using Trump as a distraction, while they, from the vice president to every senior cabinet member, go about to accomplish their ultimate published goals? Yep. Take over the world and hand it over to their sweet Lord Jesus. Well, guess what? At the exact same time, the exact same conservative Luciferian coup was taking place within the Zionist movement as well. Check it out. According to the Washington Post, under America's Jews are watching Israel in horror, September 21st, 2018. Cutting to chases. I'm going to let the beat rock so you can get the full gist of the coup. Quote, my rabbi, Danny Zimmel, comes from Zionist royalty. His grandfather, Rabbi Solomon Goldman, led the Zionist Organization of America in the late 1930s and presided over the World Zionist Congress in Geneva in 1939. So Zimmel's words carried weight when he told his flock this week on Kol Nidre, the holiest night in the Jewish year, that, personal quote, the current government in Israel has turned its back on Zionism. My love for Israel has not diminished one iota. This is, to my way of thinking, Israel's first anti-Zionist government. He recounted Israel's transformation under Benjamin Netanyahu, the rise of ultranationalism tied to religious extremism, the upsurge in settler violence, the overriding of Supreme Court rulings upholding democracy and human rights, a crackdown on dissidents, harassment of critics and nonprofits, confiscation of Arab villages and alliances with regimes in Poland, Hungary, and the Philippines that foment anti-Semitism. The Prime Minister's joint declaration in June absolving Poland of Holocaust culpability, which amounted to trading Holocaust denial for good relations, earned a rebuke from Yad Vashem, Israel's Holocaust memorial. Listen to this. Personal quote. The current government in Israel has, like Esau, sold its birthright. Zimmel preached. Similarly, anguished sentiments can be heard in synagogues and in Jewish homes throughout America. For 70 years, Israel survived in no small part because of American Jew support. Now we watch in horror as Netanyahu, with President Trump's encouragement, leads Israel on a path to estrangement and destruction. Both men have gravely miscalculated. Listen up, listen up. Netanyahu, for his part, is dissolving Americans' bipartisan pro-Israel consensus in favor of an unstable alliance of end-time Christians, Orthodox Jews, and wealthy conservatives such as Shedel Adelson. Stop. Bingo! The Orthodox Jews just mentioned are the new and fresh Hasidic Jews, Hasidic, who, just like the Dominionists, have a mandate to bring about their Messiah. But let's continue for more clues, shall we? Quote, the two have achieved Trump's usual result, division. They have split American Jews from Israelis, the American minority of political conservative Jews from the rest of American Jews. The AJC poll was done a month before Israel passed a law to give Jews more rights than other citizens, betraying the country's 70-year democratic tradition. Personal quote, we are the stunned witnesses of new alliances between Israel, Orthodox factions of Judaism throughout the world, and the new global populism in which ethnocentrism and even racism hold an undeniable place. Hebrew University of Jerusalem sociologist Eva Isles wrote in an article appearing this week on Yom Kippur in Israel's Haaretz newspaper titled, this is the title, The State of Israel versus the Jewish People. Netanyahu has undertaken, personal quote, a profound shift in the state's identity as a representative of the Jewish people to a state that aims to advance its own expansion through seizure of land, violation of international law, exclusion, and discrimination, she wrote. Personal quote, Israel will be able to count only on the support of a handful of billionaires and the ultra-Orthodox in America. Trumpism is a passing phase in American politics. Latinos and left-wing Democrats will become increasingly involved in the country's politics, and as they do, these politicians will find it increasingly difficult to justify continued American support of Israelis' policies that are abhorrent to liberal democracies. Listen up, listen up. Unlike in the past, however, Jews will no longer pressure them to look the other way. I fear she is correct. Netanyahu is betting Israel's future on people such as Pastor John Hagee of Christian United for Israel, featured at the ceremony for Trump's opening of the Jerusalem embassy. Listen up, listen up, listen up. Hagee once said, personal quote, Hitler was a hunter sent by God to drive Jews to Israel. Pro-Israel apocalypse-minded Christians see Israel as a precursor to the second coming when Jews must convert or go to hell. Example, I told you. The exact same spirit that took over the evangelicals have taken over the Zionists as well. Why? To establish the vision talked about in Uncle Daniel chapter 11 verse 14. You know, the same vision Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2 through 4 talks about. Bringing about their Messiah. Ladies and gentlemen, endure.